Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to AOR PC F2 round number 9. We are here at a soaking wet Spa-Francorchamps. I believe that is the correct pronunciation. And it is going to be an interesting race today as we have sadly only 9 drivers on the grid, but I do expect lots of action on track and it should be a fun one. So yeah, we are currently just starting qualifying. As we can see, I am going to see real fast if I can refix that audio issue that I was having. I thought I had it fixed that we saw in the previous weeks, but apparently it is still, the gain I applied is still deciding that it's just gonna, there we go. Gaming audio is a little better. Let's go on to with someone who is, there, yeah, a lot better audio right now. Not perfect, I'll still keep working to improve that. But yeah, so for round number 9, as we get started in this revamped F2 championship with our combined F2 and old F3 grids on the track right now, Flash in the Ferrari right now, who we're currently watching, has made a return to AOR to race with us this week after missing the previous 2 races. Looking elsewhere, Kalachu is on the track as well, behind Flash. We have seen in previous races that Kalachu has shown some serious intermediate and wet condition pace, fastest overall, but has had some trouble keeping it on track and in a straight line, and as a result has really not had the best performances in the wet. So as good as his pace has been, you know, it's not been perfect. So we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds and if he can get a good lap in. But I'm very excited to see what he has to offer for us today. Now going through the rest of the settings, let's see who else is on track, which looks like everyone but Zorin is on track as we speak. And I would assume everyone is on the intermediate tire, which they are. So, yep, we will have to see is there's a slight invalidation on the outlap for Kalachu. One thing to note, looks like Bailey Thompson's going a little slowly for Flash's liking. Normally in the dry, a tow might be nice around here, and in the wet, it kind of would help, but I would not want to be behind someone going up Eau Rouge and Radion today, that's for sure. But yeah, looking at the track itself, we got ourselves a 20-corner circuit. That is one of the longer ones on our calendar, as most of you, our viewers, do know. And yeah, it should be a fun one, a long one, that's for sure, a long 22 laps, but it should be fun. As Flash brings out a yellow flag in the final 2 corners as he slows up. But yeah, the first one currently out on track starting his lap is XPG Bogan, who has been absolutely dominant in our last few races, finally securing a beautiful race win in Hungary, where he did not qualify, started on the hard compound tire, and made the reverse strategy work out very nicely for him. So I'm looking to see him on pole today, as he has been on pole for many of the races this season and has shown some very great one-lap pace. But in these conditions, I do not expect it to be easy. As we ride on board with him now, let's just let his car do the talking. Good, the audio does appear to be working. I do get a little antsy here, so I'm not the quietest person, but Bogan is currently putting in a very quick lap. Was obviously purple to the first and now the second sector because he is the first one out on track. I do not have a benchmark idea, but losing the rear end coming out of turn 16 is not what you want to do if you want to maximize your lap. So he's got enough ERS, it looks like, for the rest of the lap, so he should be okay on deployment. But a little bit of a tank slapper there is definitely going to cost him a few tenths, so we'll have to see what his final time is going to be in these conditions and if it can be beaten. But other than that, it's looked like a very clean lap for XPG Bogan as he comes across the line and sets a 152.6. That is fastest overall because he is the first one across the line. But will Flash have anything to say about that time? Crosses the line with a 153.6, exactly a second off behind him. So not the quickest lap. Kalachu showing some pace with the 152.999 for he's trying to compete for the podium. Looking down the order, Hittinen is going to be starting his first lap, or actually no, he just invalidated his previous lap, so he may go again, which most drivers will be. Going again is Bailey Thompson a little farther back, sets a 2:15.3. He must have made a mistake somewhere on the track, because that lap should not be what he finishes the session with. Gelbovan crosses the line with a 157.9, and it was invalid. So that's not something he wants to keep repeating, which he's had troubles in past races with the invalidations, and that is not ideal. But yes, while we were talking about him, CNLP, nope, that's Bailey Thompson. CNLP put down a 154.5, which is good enough for P4. So definitely some good pace so far, but the field is a little spread out with Bogan currently in provisional pole like we expected. But interesting to see now with this track being such a long lap, how many laps these drivers will do on the intermediate tires before they come into the pits and put on another set. Will they do one? Will they do more? I am not sure. But next across the line is Zorin with a 152.7. That's probably one of his best laps of the season, and because he has already put himself into P2. Now, I'm not sure, again, like how fast the track will get and how fast these drivers can be in these conditions, but Zorin has not shown the best of qualifying pace this season, but that lap right there already, it was a statement that he's here not to play, as Bailey Thompson goes off on the exit of Puan and barely gets out of the way for, I believe that was Gelbovan coming through. So, yes, definitely was a close call for the Renault driver there, but he's going to have to probably come into the pits and strap on a new set of tires. As Kalachu goes purple overall and does a 152.388, improves on his lap by 0.6. So that is a very huge improvement, and Kalachu is looking like he's starting to get that qualifying bug that he's had out of his system. As we got a spin in the final corner, I believe that is Pater, and that is the correct pronunciation, which I had to clarify with him before the race. So he sets a 2:05.06, faster than Bailey Thompson, but definitely it's going to have to go a little faster, and definitely will go a little faster considering he did spin and the bus stop chicane. And Gelbovan will round out the drivers putting in their first lap by setting a 158.2. So some interesting and spread out times right now. Patrick got lucky there not to get a invalidation out of Radion. That was a very close one. But now down the long Kemmel straight, kind of first sector, will the Haas driver be able to set? It's a 31.8, which is a 10.5 adrift from his best time. Now, of course, he will improve on it, but those tires may not be in the best of conditions still because of that spin. So we'll keep an eye on him as he goes around the lap right now. I did notice Flash did pit, and he is on a new set of intermediate tires, which I would assume he takes to the end of the session. So Ferrari driver down in P5 is looking to get a little higher of a starting position so he can compete for the win, which he has shown that he can win in this split, which he did in Austria. So a little blast to the past, which we'll double check later on today when we look at the standings in between the sessions. We'll take a look at how some of the drivers have performed in previous races and see, you know, if we can get an idea on who's going to do what today. So, but either way, going back up the order, I believe Kalachu is currently coming into the bus stop chicane. He will go back into the pits. Hittinen right behind him as well, back in the pits. Bogan is still out on track, pumping in laps. Not necessarily fast laps either. He's doing 157, which is nowhere near his best time, as that tank slapper through Radion is going to invalidate his lap. He will certainly come into the pits and put on a fresh set of tires as he backs off, and his fuel is almost out now. But Patter comes into the pits as well. Gelbevand, is he going to finish his lap? No, he will not. He was over 2 seconds faster than his previous best, but I guess he just does not have the fuel to finish out the lap. So that leaves us with CNLP, who has a spin out of the final corner. You do not want to be doing that if you're trying to set a fastest lap for yourself. So he's going to probably have to return to the pits as well, with those tires are probably shot. And right behind him is the Ferrari driver Flash, who's on an out lap right now and will be presumably the only driver on a hot lap with CNLP, most likely on an in lap as we speak. So we'll take a look at the Ferrari driver, and we'll ride on board with him as he takes a very interesting line through La Source and goes through what is classified as turn 2 right there, that little bit of a kink. Then up through Rouge and Radion, the left-right-left combo that is very tricky in dry, let alone wet conditions. But he takes it pretty nicely. Didn't use all of the track limits, as we just saw. Wondering if that was it's not as fast to do that or not. He does a 31.5 in the first sector, over 2/10 quicker than his previous best lap. So it looks like not using the whole track has improved his lap. Keeps it nice and clean through the comb. Now into the Brussels, I guess it would be a hairpin, really. Now, this is a full 180 of a corner. So into the Brussels hairpin he goes and on gets the exit. Keeps very good traction going through turn 11, aka No Name. And onto the run to Pouon. He's looking like a very clean and tidy lap from the Ferrari driver. Carries a lot of speed into Pouon, but he runs a little bit wide, and he somehow does not invalidate his lap, but he lost a little bit of speed there as he had to go way off throttle, and that is going to definitely cost him some time there as he goes through the campus section and then I'm not even sure what that pronunciation is. I'm trying to read my track map, but I am clearly not as informed as some other people are. Stavlot, and then I'm just going to have to go by corner numbers now. Corner 16, that's Kalachu. It did not actually just reset a fastest lap. That is just the game bugging a little bit. But Flash is on a cracker of a lap right now, but he loses the rear end to Blanchimont and completely backs out of his lap. So wonder if he just was not happy with that lap and if he's going to go again. Is he going to come into the pits now? He's just going to line up for another lap, take a wider line. Let's take a look at his sector times. 31.5, 51.0. So he was already 7/10 faster. But I guess that mistake in Blanchimont is kind of what cost him. Yeah, because he was 31.4, which would have put him... Yeah, so he would have been 2, maybe 3/10 off of pole, which would have put him in the top 3. But I guess that mistake just, in Blanchimont cost him too much time, so he decided to back out. So interesting to see that decision be made, but see what he can do again, as he's got plenty of battery, plenty of fuel, clearly, and plenty of pace. As he does a purple first sector. It is definitely good for Flash right now, and is looking great for him as he's 4/10 up on his lap. Question is, will he be able to keep that momentum up through the rest of the lap and steal pole? We'll keep an eye on him as his lap goes on, because right behind him is Hittinen, who is, well, not actually, right behind him is Bogan on an out lap, as Hittinen loses the rear end in Rouge and Radion and will invalidate his lap. So he will have to go again if he wants to improve on that lap time. But looking back up the order, we'll keep an eye on Flash now, who takes a very, very close line around Pouon and barely stays within the track limits as he goes into the campus section now. We'll see how far up on his time. It's looked very clean from everything we've seen so far, using all of the track, using the curbs and everything, keeping it very clean, nice and tight. He goes purple through sector 2. He is a 9/10, almost a second up on his lap, which could get him close to pole position. But can he keep it clean through the final corners and through Blanchimont? He had trouble on it on his last lap. He keeps it very nice and clean. No loss of the rear end there as he goes into the bus stop chicane. No locking up. Can he get nice traction out of the corner? A little slow, but it's looking pretty nice and tight. He gets a little bit of rear wheel spin. He crosses the line with a 152.5. It is over a 1 second improvement, but he is still 1.5 tenths behind pole position. A lap that was set by Kalachu. And that lap is looking like the time to beat right now. Yes, 1.5 tenths behind Kalachu. So we'll look through the order as well, as Bogan is currently starting his lap as Flash has invalidated his next one. Bogan, who I do expect to challenge for pole position with the pace we've seen from him all season long. The Williams driver who's been having a phenomenal run of races right now and is currently our championship leader as a result. Will he have an answer for Flash's pace on track? He about matches Flash's first sector, but it is not purple. He's over 2/10 up, so if he can just kind of match his laps, or his best lap, the rest of this lap, he might be able to challenge Kalachi for a pole. Kalachi, who is still in the pits right now, not sure if he feels just that confident about his lap or what, or if the race is going to be in these conditions, which very well could be, and could explain why he'd be trying to save his tires. But we are not sure at the moment, and I do not have a weather update at this time to share. So, yes, hopefully we get some interesting conditions. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it dry, as I think it might be a little closer of a field than it could be in the wet, but we'll have to wait and see what surprises the race unfolds. As we have a Renault who just crossed the line. I believe that is Bailey Thompson starting his next flying lap. Bailey, who is currently over 22 seconds adrift because he just had an absolute shocker of a lap where I believe he had at least one spin. So that time will certainly be improved as long as he keeps it within track limits. But looking back down the order, Flash is back into the pits. I presume he will try to go out one more time. Not sure. But either way, all eyes are on XPG Bogan, who is 4/10 up on his lap. Gets a very nice run out of the bus stop chicane and comes across the line and sets a 1:52.1. That is provisional pole position with 2.5 minutes left. It doesn't look like that many drivers will be able to challenge him. I don't believe Flash will have enough time to get back out on track, so his session may be done. Bogan over 2/10 up. It looks like Kalachi is the closest to answering, but he is currently on his outlap and will only have time for one more attempt at stealing pole position, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. That is Pater off the track. He was on a slight improvement and is just struggling in these wet conditions. But yeah, Bogan is currently backed out right now on the Kimmel Straight. Not sure if he's just out of fuel or whatnot, or if he's just trying to save battery. But he let the Renault of Zorin through, who was on an outlap. So everyone on track has time to do one more lap. Hittinen, I believe, crossed the line in time to have another chance for a second lap, but we'll see what kind of first sector he's able to pull off. He does a 131 or 31.7, not a 131, a 31.7, which is over 3/10 adrift of what his teammate Bogan did in the Sister Williams. So he's gonna either have to really push the rest of this lap, or he will have to back off and try again. It doesn't look like he's pushing that hard at the moment. At least the engine sound doesn't sound like he is. Yeah, he is definitely trying to save fuel and gonna go one more time at the end of this lap. He should have enough time to do that. Flash is back out on track, but I do not believe the Ferrari driver will have enough time to get around the track, as it is an even longer lap in these conditions. But if he could pull it off, that'd be great, but I do not think he will have the time to get to the line. But speaking of which, CNLP is the first of our drivers on their final flying lap. Not sure what he did through the first sector and if he's currently on an improvement, but losing the rear end coming out of the Brussels hairpin will not help you at all. CNLP's time is 1.3 seconds adrift from the lead, as there's a yellow flag farther back. That might be Kalachi on his final attempt. That is Kalachi, who's currently purple. Not sure if the yellow flag was justified, considering he's still going fast. But Kalachi looking to steal pole position, back from Bogan, but taking that line. It looked like a really wide line. That was a weird camera shot. A wide line out of Brussels will not help him. Zorin, who he just went past, now that's Bailey Thompson, whom he just went past, has invalidated his lap and backed off, so his session is over, and he will be starting no better than P7 right now. But back to CNLP, the first of the drivers who will cross the line. He's currently 3/10 up on his lap. He's going to need to find a few more tenths through the bus stop chicane if he wants to improve his starting position. As he comes out of the chicane now, a little bit of rear wheel spin, keeps it clean though, but not as clean as you'd like, and he only pulls 3/10 of an improvement. Pader will be next across the line. He is 1.4 seconds up on his lap. He comes across the line with a 152.8, and he displaces CNLP and steals away 6th place. So that tank slapper by CNLP cost him at least one position. Next up, it looks like, do we have Gelbavan? No, but Gelbavan's purple through Sector 2. Next up is Kalachi, who will come across the line and will set a 151.9. That is provisional pole position. Does Bogan have an answer? I'm not sure. He is currently at the end of Sector 2 is Bogan up on his time. He has currently matched it and is purple through Sector 2, but matching his time will not get him pole as he invalidates his lap, and he will not get pole position. Gelbovan will go up to P3, though, with a 152.4 is a racing point 1.3, and Bogan is sandwiched between the two of them after Kalachu's mighty lap. Next across the line is Zorin. Will Zorin have an answer to these improved pit times? No, he will not improve on his lap today. Hittinen is currently, well, the next one across the line is Bogan, who we know invalidated. Hittinen is the last driver on circuit. He is currently improved on his lap so far, but will he nail the bus stop chicane and steal away one or two more positions? He's barely behind Zorin, but Hittenen's going to cross the line and do a 152 flat. That might be good enough for P3. That is P2, actually. So he actually displaces his teammate who invalidated his lap, and as a result is now going to have to start on the second row. So either way, that was a phenomenal lap by Kalachu to steal pole position. The driver who's definitely looked like a rainmaster so far this season will be starting from pole position. Behind him is Hittinen with a 152 flat, Bogan P3, Gelbovan P4, Flash P5, Zorin P6, Pater P7, CNL P8, and Bailey Thompson rounding out our small but action-packed grid today. So in between, we will go ahead and take a look at the championship standings as it stands. As you can see, we only have 10 drivers, with Ben Q absent today. He said he got a surprise visit from his grandpa, so hope he enjoys the day and his time with his relatives, and they all stay safe. So looking at the standings, so we are currently at 10 drivers. Again, if you are looking to join in on the fun, AOR signups are still open, and we are looking forward to add more drivers who can race at this level. I mean, if you want to sign up in general, you're more than welcome to. We have plenty of tiers for all sets of drivers, and we are always looking for more members. But back to the championship standings, EL Bogan has been an absolute storm lately. Actually, it's been an absolute storm ever since Sipos Patrick left the split, ironically. He got relatively promoted, and PL Bogan, who showed some good pace in Spain, but kind of benefited a little bit from penalties around him. Struggled in Monaco and Baku in Canada, as you can see, but he's just had an insane run recently, especially in Hungary, where he pulled that absolutely dominating win out of his pocket. And he's currently won the last two, and as a result, he's gapped his teammate, who was before Silverstone, the two more neck and neck. And Hittenen's had a little bit of struggle recently, where he had an incident in Hungary that knocked him down the order. And though he had a great recovery drive, he wasn't really able to do much better than P4. But looking through the rest of the field now, we got Gelbovan, who's off in P3, who's been on a turn of up form right now recently, where he did have those shocking starts to the season, and then he had the middle few races ago has kind of been spotty, but he's shown the pace. I mean, we saw him have a good drive in Austria, but he only ended at P4 due to penalties. But hey, we'll have to see what he can do, as now he is currently in P4. Kalachu, our pole sitter, who did not start last week, is currently down in P6. So he has shown some great form, but he just hasn't been able to convert the races into podiums. So I look to see what the Frenchman can do today, because he has shown a lot of pace this season. And looking at the rest of the standings, it is pretty close towards the bottom, and we'll have to see what some of these drivers can do today. But back to the action on the grid now. They are currently on the formation lap. Kalachu leading out the drivers today. What I would like to see now is what types of tires will we be seeing on the drivers as we go to the details. Let's see. So softs and mediums have been chosen, with the Racing Point drivers splitting between the two of them, along with the Williams drivers splitting, and the Renault, the Renaults as well. So the drivers that have teammates have seen to go split on strategy. Now the reverse strat does seem a little fast around here, but then again, the DRS is very powerful, so overtaking will be interesting and be relatively easy around the track. As the drivers line up on the grid for the start of the Grand Prix, This will be a very exciting race, folks. I hope you guys are strapped into your seats or wherever you are and ready to rumble as we begin the Belgian Grand Prix. As the lights go on now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. Kilachu gets a great start, and so does Bogan behind him. Can Bogan make the move on his teammate into turn 1? No, Hittinen will break deep and hold the outside. The drivers are going double file on the run to Eau Rouge and Radion right now. I got to pull up my track map so I don't forget corners. But Kilachu leads the way right now of the 9-car grid, but it is very close between the Williams pair right behind him. The two of them slipstreaming off of each other. Hittinen goes to the right. Is he going to try to make the move on Kilachu for the lead? No, he will not. He might lose position to Bogan, who breaks very late as well. The two Williams pair drivers going side by side, but Hittinen will hold on to P2 at the end of the first sector. A little farther behind, Patter and Bailey Thompson are bailing at it, with Patter going up the inside of Bailey Thompson. They're side by side in the Brussels hairpin, with Patter coming out in front, but Patter goes deep, and Bailey Thompson takes the position back, and Patter loses a pair, might lose a third position to CNLP. All the way in the back, they are side by side in P1, with Patter getting shoved off the road a little bit, but CNLP leaving more space, and the two of them are side by side for 8th position, the last of the positions right now. They are side by side, but CNLP will come out on top. Will they? I'm not sure. They are still side by side throughout much of Sector 2. This is phenomenal racing as they leave each other just enough space, but Patter will hold on to the position for the time being. As it stands, the rest of the order has held position since we last checked, but Flash has got Bailey Thompson all up behind him. Bailey Thompson on the move right now with the medium tire. Bailey Thompson up the inside in the bus stop chicane. Can Flash hold on to the position and get the better run out of the chicane? The two of them are side by side, but Bailey's getting the better traction as Curly now up on the back of Gelbavan as Bailey Thompson has ghosted, but he is through. He is through and ahead of Flash. The Renault driver is making moves, and he likes the dry conditions around the track, and he is currently on the preferred strategy of the two. But he is currently showed ghosted on my screen, but I believe that is not true, as Kilachu picks up his first time penalty of the race and the first one for all the drivers. But nevertheless, Flash is going to try to re-overtake Bailey Thompson, who moves across the track under braking zone and will hold on to the position. Flash was not alongside for the move there, so I think everything is okay. Yes, a little farther down the order, there are some yellow flags behind. I believe CNLP or Patter had a little bit of a moment through the Combs section. Yes, up the order, Bogan is through on his teammate and has made the overtake with the softer compound. The two Williams pair are looking to get a move on as Kilachu is starting to run away. The Delta, well, it's definitely not right, that's for sure. Let's see if we can get that fixed, shall we? What the heck? Lap data, nope. Let's go to gap. That's right, it's the G key. Why is the G key being lapped? Yeah, so it looks like the interval is just broken. Let's see if unpausing will fix it. Now, the interval is just broken right now, and so is my shortcut for the interval. So we will just have to hope that the info is right, and the leader thing isn't really updating that much because, well, the gap at the front is clearly not 1 second because Bogan is right behind Kilachu. So, yeah, we will just have to... There we go. Now that's fixed. I don't know what was going on. Bogan sets the fastest lap of a 145.9. And it looks like we got a DRS train all the way down from 1st down to 8th position, with CNLP falling off the back a little bit on those medium compound of tire. That was a very weird glitch there. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that was very weird. So, anyways, back to the action on track. Bogan is 9/10 almost behind Kilachu and is not close enough to make a move. But you know who is close enough to make a move? Flash on Bailey Thompson. Flash will move to the right-hand side of the track. Both drivers have DRS. Who will break later? It is Bailey Thompson who has to use the runoff area and will hold on to the position. Not sure that was entirely fair of him to go break late and use that part of the track to hold the position. So we might see that in the stewards later on. But as of right now, Bailey Thompson holds position with Flash still behind him and Zorin down in P7. So looking at how the drivers have moved on today, Bailey Thompson up 4 positions after starting dead last. Flash gets a moment behind him. But yeah, Bailey Thompson on a move, on a charge right now. And the best part about it is he is on the medium compound tire. So he will go late into the race and he will have the optimum strategy, especially at the end of the race where he will just have that much more pace compared to those around him. So, I mean, towards the front, of course, it is a little different story. He's got 2 medium compound runners in front of him, with Hittinen being the leader of it and is currently out of DRS range of his teammate. And they're coming into the DRS detection point, so the Williams driver has fallen off the front too. So that is not going to be good if he wants to hold on and get a good finish the race, but he gains a ton of time, in the bus stop chicane. Not sure if Kalachu is just slow through it, excuse me, but you know who is slow? Zorin. Actually, Flash pitted, but and Flash has retired from the session. That is not sure why that just happened, but Zorin and Patter are battling it out down the order right now, and for what will be 6th position. As Flash has left this session, not sure what's going on there. I guess he wasn't happy with his car or whatnot, but Patter and Zorin currently battling it out. Kalachu up the front is battling for the lead, and he has lost it to XPG Bogan, who has overtaken him for the lead of the Grand Prix. But back down the order, Zorin and Patter are battling it out, and Zorin will take position 6, with Patter getting a 3-second time penalty during the battling, but Patter will send it up the inside into the Brussels hairpin, a place where it seems like a lot of drivers want to go side by side. They bang wheels, and on the exit into No Name, they are still side by side. Patter holding it around the outside of the Renault driver and retaking that 6th position. Phenomenal battling between the pair. Patter once again going side by side in that part of the track, but this time making it work for him properly. But anyways, back up the order, Kalachu's pace is just falling off right now, as he is down already 8/10 behind XPG Bogan, who's trying to gap the Racing Point driver and get out of DRS range. So we'll have to see what happens in the coming laps, but those soft tires are definitely not working as well as they were at the start, and the medium drivers are looking a little faster right now. But it's currently a 4-horse battle for the lead, where all 4 of them are in a slipstream train. So I would not even count out Gelbevand, who, even though he's not shown electrifying pace today so far, he's still showing pace, as XPG Bogan goes fastest overall with a 145.6. So a very, very strong lap that was helped by his DRS overtake of Kalachu. But we'll see if Kalachu has anything to say about it. He was 4/10 behind Bogan going into Eau Rouge now, and he's definitely getting a slipstream from the Williams driver in front of him. Will he be able to gain even more on the exit of Radion? Not really, still just about the same gap, but he will have the DRS, which Bogan will not. Will Kalachu use what battery he has left? He only has 5%, but will that even make it matter? No, it will not make it happen for him right there. Kalachu holds on to P2 and does not make the move for P1. As the camera shots right now are definitely a little, I would not say ideal, as it kind of blocked out what was going on through the corner, and it was hard to tell if he was going to make a move or not. So hopefully the Codemasters will fix that up for us, because we would like to see all the action on track, and it's not fun to look at an empty part of track. But either way, at the front, it is Bogan with Kalachu, followed by Hittinen and Gelbevand in a DRS train, which is pulled away from Bailey Thompson, who is now 2.4 seconds adrift from Gelbevand, but having a really good race otherwise. He's going to need to start to show some pace if he wants to compete for a podium. He's keeping it clean right now, is up 4 positions, and is looking to do what Bogan did last race. But again, the DRS train is very strong right now. He's going to have to get back in DRS range, otherwise it's going to be a long race for the Renault driver. He's already made some great strides so far today. But the action's still up at the front, with Kalachu being 8/10 behind Bogan through the bus stop. He lost 4/10 through it. It looks like it's adjusted itself to 6/10 now on the exit. So he lost 2/10 through the bus stop, but then gained it all back into turn 1 due to the DRS. So Kalachu a little farther back this time, and I assume he still does not have much of energy battery, as it is just very hard to save battery around here, because once you use it, it is so hard with how on throttle you are around the track. But as a result, Kalachu will gain on Bogan down the straight, but he will not gain enough to make the move into the Lacombe section. Behind him, Hittinen is currently holding up Kalaju's teammate, but they're all kind of at an arm's length between each other, where they're in DRS range. They're getting pulled along by Bogan, but they're not really fighting for anything and just kind of holding position. It's Kalaju picks up another. Excuse me, I'm gonna need a coffee. Kalaju picks up another 3-second time penalty. That will not help the Racing Point driver's day at all. The freshman looking to get one of his best results of the season, and by getting time penalties, that will not help him one bit. As now 6 seconds will put Bailey Thompson ahead of him in final race results. So that will make the Renault's driver very happy, as his day will go from great to excellent. But, well, it is still early on in the race. We're only on lap 6, so we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. But you know who has gotten ahead? XPG Bogan. He is 1.2 seconds ahead of Kalaju and has broken the DRS from the driver behind him. But the pit window is about to open. It opens from now all the way up to lap 9 for the soft tire runners. I would not expect anyone to go any farther, as yes, these tires are durable, but they do drop off. So as we can see right now, medium tire runners though aren't really showing much of a pace advantage just yet on the soft tire runners. So curious to see if that just is due to the fact that Kalaju and Bogan just have that much pace, or if the mediums just aren't like really the better tire to run on at the moment. But we'll have to see. I mean, there was no tire wear due to qualifying due to the rain, so these drivers are surely going to go a little longer. So maybe the range for pitting is more like 7 to 10, but still, I would not expect anyone to go beyond that. And so, yeah, we'll see if anyone decides to pull the trigger at the end of the lap. But looking through the field right now, Hittinen is closed up to Kalaju, who no longer has the DRS to help himself defend from the Williams behind him, and Hittinen, who would like to get a move on so that way he can take the championship battle back to his teammate. He's going to need to clear the Racing Point driver and get a move on it now, because he's currently 2 seconds behind, and Bogan will come into the pits and probably gap him even more before Hittinen does make his eventual pit stop. So the Williams driver has got it all going for him right now, as has to get a move on, as the engines are revving very weird. I don't know what the game was doing there, but that was very is the best way to put it, to be honest. So either way, lap 7 of 22 is coming to a close right now as the drivers come to the bus stop chicane. Will anyone pull the trigger and go into the pits? Let's take a look at Bogan, who has a nice big lockup. He will not go into the pits. Will Kalaju go into the pits? No. The next one would be Pater. Will he come into the pits? No. And neither will Zorin. So it's looking like the whole field is just going to stay out and do a couple more laps on that tire. On that soft compound of tire. I do not expect any medium runners to pit. But Zorin does a 146. That kind of matches his best. So I guess it's not really dying off as much as I thought it would. Because the DRS is helping out some drivers. So, well, yeah, we'll have to see. As Gelbovan has actually closed in on Hittinen. He's only 6/10 behind him compared to the 9 that he was before. So the Racing Point driver might fancy an overtake on the Williams driver ahead. But Kalaju has closed in on Bogan. So now he is back in DRS range. Though, just as I say that, the Lacombe section pops up, and he is back to 1.2. So that is just not nice when a commentator curse someone. But it was also not nice. Well, actually, I don't have an analogy for that one, so I'll just stick to analogies when I can make them. Thank you for everyone watching today and enjoying this presentation so far. We're, again, on lap 8 out of 22 for Apex Online Racing PC F2, as Bailey Thompson and Patter both pick up 3-second time penalties, which will not help either of their days and will surely give Zorin at least one position by the end of the race if these gaps hold. But Bailey Thompson, who's been on a charge all day, is going to need to get a move on now. He's only 3 seconds behind Gelbavand, who is currently starting to show more pace, but it's not good as Patter retires from the section. I think he retired on the exit. Yes, he retired on the exit of turn 16. He lost the rear end on the curb, and he's completely missing his front left tire. That is not what we wanted to see from the Haas driver today. As into the pits comes our race leader, XPG Bogan, as a virtual safety car is deployed. So Bogan and Bailey Thompson and Zorin all into the pits now. Not sure if Bailey Thompson needs to make a wing change, as it's a very early time to pit for them to get off of the medium tire. But this will cause the Renaults to double stack and will surely hurt Zorin's progress. As Bailey Thompson puts on the soft compound tire, not what I expected from him. But looks like in the background, Zorin, I don't think he made a wing change. Oh, yeah, he was just slowed up by the fact that the game does not know how to double stack. But all 4 of these drivers who came to pits, which includes CNLP, all got a cheap pit stop out of there, even though Zorin lost a lot of time. As Hittinen gets a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. It is tears for the Williams driver, as he will certainly have to come and serve that in the next few laps. And then he'll have to pit in a few laps after that. So by staying out, it turns out he was too quick. And he will have his race all but surely ruined, because he'll come back out around where his teammate is, but then he'll still have to make another stop. And then on a track where DRS is everything, he will not have DRS when he comes out, and he's just going to be fighting for as most points as he can, but it will not be the big bucks points that we will see from the other drivers getting. But this actually helps out Gelbovan, who is currently going, well, actually does not help him because he doesn't have Hittinen to pull him along. Because Hittinen will have to come into the pit, and Gelbovan will be out on his own, and will have to deal with Bogan in clean air behind him, who's already gained over a half a second on the Racing Point driver this lap. So, if not even more. So, Bogan showing a lot of pace. As we speak, will anyone dive into the pits? Yes, Kalachu does come into the pits, and there comes Hittinen as well to serve his drive-through. I'm sure the Finnish driver is fuming in the cockpit for such a silly mistake, as I would think it would be definitely considered a silly mistake, but it is a mistake nonetheless that has to be served. As it'll be curious to see where he does come out, and because he will certainly come out behind Bogan by the looks of it. Yes, Hittinen is at the pit exit. Did Kalachu breaks his front wing? He got a drive-through as well. I did not see that at all. I did not get that notification, but the Racing Point driver had a drive-through as well. So both of the 2 guys who were at the front of the field not only come out from the pits behind the former race leader in the exact same spot they were before, but they both have to pit again, as they both just had a drive-through. It is horrible for the 2 guys that were running in the podium-paying positions, and this could give Bailey Thompson his first podium of the season. But he's going to have to make those soft tires last for more than half the race, which that is a tall order for the Renault driver. But down the order, Zorin is having a nice little scrap with CNLP, but Zorin is through. CNLP is struggling to get those hard tires to work for him, which is not surprising. The hard tires are not a tire you normally see around the track. But either way, Gelbovan is currently holding Bogan at the same gap they were at the end of the previous lap, and about this time anyways. So Gelbovan showing some pace now that he's in clean air, and he will be the biggest threat to Bogan for the race win. But seeing how Kalachu came out right behind Bogan, and that was just from a drive-through, you have to count that Gelbovan will lose probably, what, another 3, maybe 4 seconds during the pit stop. So he's going to come out 4 or 5 seconds behind Bogan, and he's going to have to really turn on the afterburners with those soft tires if he wants to have a chance at the win. But yes, our net race leader right now is Bogan, who is currently in P2 and has been flying on track right now, with his only threat now being Gelbovan, as Hittinen stays out, but will have to pit soon to get off the medium tires. Did he go purple? I think he just went purple, yes. If you look at the gaps, yes. No, Bogan went purple, sorry. Looking at the wrong Williams. It's throwing me off a tad. Bogan fastest on track right now, but he will not keep that fastest lap for long, as drivers will come into the pits and they will be putting on the soft tires behind him. But Kalachi will come out in quote-unquote dead last after having to change his front wing, and I can only imagine that Hittinen will only come out a little bit in front of him due to the fact that he will not have to change his wing, but Hittinen will have to pit because of the drive-through. So the Finnish driver will have a lot of work to do, but will have the softer compound tire, so he's not in as bad of a situation as Kalachu. So we'll have to see what he can do in the coming laps. But either way, I'm surprised Bailey Thompson is not lighting up our timing boards at the moment, as he is on that soft tire, and which should give him some nice pace. Now, it will make the end of a living hell, but it's a risk you gotta take. You do the soft tire, do the hard tire. If you can make those soft tires last, and it turns out he made the right move because that could get him a podium by the end of this one. So we'll have to see what he can do on the track, as he's currently on 2/10 quicker than his best lap. And his best lap was a 46.0, so that will not put him purple at all. So his pace is good, but not good enough, it seems. But one thing I just saw on the timing screen, and so did the rest of you, Zorin with a 3-second time penalty. And not a name you hear with a time penalty often. So the Renault driver struggling right now, it looks like. But Bogan is not struggling, as he does a 1:45.2. The Williams driver is flying, and no longer is Gelban able to keep him at an arm's width. That Racing Point up front is going to have to come into the pit soon and react to him. But it all depends on how long he feels he can keep those soft tires alive, because he's going to have to make them last as well. And with 10 2/3 laps to go, we still have a long way to go, folks. So anything could happen, but right now it's looking very good for Bogan and Bailey Thompson, who could inherit his first podium of the season. Now, I will take a quick break from commentating, as I'm going to grab something to drink, since my voice is hurting a tad, and I was not feeling great this morning. So I'm going to grab something to kind of help with that, and I'll kind of just let the driving of Bogan, our race leader, we'll stick with him for the coming minute or so, and I will be right back. All right. I have returned. Grabbed a quick bite to eat as well. With me, a little bit of a nice healthy bar. And it looks like Bogan has closed up the gap. Kalachi goes purple with a 1:44.7. He is on the medium compound tire right now, but he's sitting all the way down P7. So that pace, as good as it is, you know, it shows it's another what could have been race for the Racing Point driver, as he's just not going to be able to convert that into much else. He might be able to grab P6 if he can catch up to CNLP and keep up that pace, but man, it is very unfortunate to see that he got that drive through and then on top of it broke his wing, because that kind of pace could win you the race. But either way, let's look at the best laps right now. Bogan has not improved on his 45.2. Gelbavan has not improved on his time, but he is on 13-lap old mediums, and he's still matching that time. So Gelbavan is looking mighty quick still on track. He's only 8.5 seconds ahead of Bogan, and he does have to pit again. But with the pace he's showing right now, when he puts on those soft compound of tire, he will be quick at the end of the race, so he will be one to look out for. But I think he might come out behind Bailey Thompson, who at the moment is not far off of Hittinen. So Bailey Thompson might be able to benefit off of a little bit of slipstream for a lap or so from Hittinen, unless Hittinen decides to box in the coming laps. So Renault driver might want to get a move on it, as he does have his precious time before those tires will go off, and then he'll have Zorin, who is 7.5 seconds behind him, who may catch up to him and race him for position. And that will be for a podium position, because as we know, Hittinen has to pit again. Gelbavan still has to pit, period. And so Gelbavan will drop in with them. Hittinen will drop down the order. So the battle for P3 is not over, especially not yet, and considering the circumstances. So we're on lap 14 of 22, and it is definitely a long one, like I assumed it would be. But entertaining, that's for sure. I mean, Spa-Francorchamps is a absolutely beautiful track to watch at, or to drive at and watch from. And it's a shame we don't have a bigger grid today, but to enjoy this with. But it's okay, because either way, it just means we get to see more of the beautiful Belgian hillside and the nice trees. I'm not sure what kind of trees those are, but yeah, some very nice very nice scenery to drive around today. Now, if anyone in the chat would like to make any comments or have any questions or anything, feel free to type it in. I'll be happy to answer any questions because, you know, it is a long race, and there's always things to talk about. So, as you can see. Sorry about that. I had to answer a quick question. But looking back on track, Gelbman still out, has not pitted yet, is now only 7.8 seconds ahead. So the longer he stays out, the more time he's giving Bogan to gap him. But into the pits goes Hinton. There goes the Williams driver. First of the last two drivers who have to pit at the end, and we are just not going to watch him pit because that was just bad volume book. Oof. So we'll have to see where he comes out, but yeah. He might come out closer to Kalachu, but it looks like CNLP will get the jump on him. Yeah, CNLP will get the jump on him, hitting in, leaving the pits now. Kalachu wasn't able to close up enough, even though he's shown some very strong pace. Kalachu having to do that wing change when he left the pits from the drive-thru. Will have to put in more work in if he wants to gain a position. Gelvan is on the reverse strat, so he is on the reverse strat. Bailey Thompson is, but Bailey Thompson came in under the VSC. That might actually get him a podium, but we'll have to see what he can do with those tires in these last 7 laps. Reverse strat as well. So it's Gelbavan, hitting in, Bailey Thompson. CNLP was on reverse strat, but he pitted under the VSC onto hards. And it's not looking like the hards have that much pace. Bailey Thompson, the strategy with him has been pretty good so far on those softs, but they are 5 laps old with 7 laps to go. And, well, 7 laps in a sector. If he can make those last, that would be insane. I mean, that would be some real life like Daniel Ricciardo-esque kind of driving. You know, I don't think the comparison's needed considering he is also in a Renault, but that is a tall order to ask someone. But Gelbavan, our race leader, is into the pits now. He will put on the soft compound tire, and Bogan will inherit the lead once again, and he will have a very big margin of over 10 seconds to the nearest competitor, and he is just going to be in the driver's seat for the race win now. But it'll be a matter of where does Gelbavan come out, and how far back from Bogan will he be. We will change the timing board, the delta, to leader, as Gelbavan comes out ahead of Bailey Thompson. No, he will be side by side and now right behind Bailey Thompson, but he will get slipstream down on Rouge and Radion, and he should make the overtake back. So he will have over 10 seconds to close in, or to make up on Bogan, but that is definitely no small task, but also not a big one considering he has a very big tire advantage. But the mediums are quick around here. Gelbavan, Bailey Thompson go side by side at the end of Lacombe's, but Gelbavan will take the position on those brand new soft tires and will now be up into P2, and all he has between him and the win is 10 seconds, which will be hard to catch up to. But if Gelbavan can pump in some fastest laps one after another, you never know. This race is not over, folks, especially if Bogan picks up a penalty. So we'll have to see. But that VSC was huge as it came out right before Bogan could pit and stopped right after he left the pit. So the Williams driver really benefiting from that. But he's going to have to really keep the foot down and keep the car moving fast because Gelbavan is coming for him. So we'll change the gap back to interval, see if there's any other battles on track. There is. Hit it in. All over the back of CNLP is run down the hard tire runner on those fresh set of softs, which I can't say I'm surprised to see, but hitting in. Currently on the move, looking to make up another position and hopefully run down even Zorin in P4, because 6.4 seconds should not be too hard for him, but getting a 3-second time penalty will not help his progress at all, as now CNLP has the jump on him, and if CNLP can kind of stick with it, and after the fact, he will inherit a free position as a result of being clean. But will Hinton make a move into the bus stop chicane up the inside. He will. He goes to the right-hand side of the track, brakes later than CNLP, and he has the position before the second part of the chicane. The Finnish driver is up to P5 and is on a charge. Another driver of what could have been, considering the fact that he had the drive-through earlier on. Another driver we're looking at is Gelbavan, back up towards the front. He's keeping Bailey Thompson now over a second behind him as he is pulled away, but he has 9.3 seconds to close on Bogan. So that gap is still very large, and he's not closing it quick enough to have a shot at stealing the race win from the Finnish driver, who is showing some phenomenal pace right now. So, but looking back through the grid, CNLP has got the DRS on Hittinen, and I'm sure it just wants to stay there and get pulled along, but he's going to have to stay behind Hittinen and stay within a second through one of the harder parts of the track, and it's not looking like it's going to be possible on an older set of hard tires. Yes, as he locks up into the Brussels chicane, he's now out of DRS range. CNLP definitely struggling out there on that tire compound right now, but you know who isn't struggling? Bailey Thompson. Bailey Thompson, who been from a little bit of DRS before and had that brief battle with Gelbovan, is still 4.8 seconds clear of his teammate on 7-lap-old softs. So by coming into the pits, not only by holding up his teammate in the pits due to just how the game works and not being able to double stack, he was able to gap Zorin. He was able to gap him enough that as of right now, Bailey Thompson, it's his to lose for that podium position. So he's looking to have his best result of the year, and I'm sure he will be more than ecstatic to pull that off. So we'll have to see what the final 5 laps have to bring, as Bogan leads us through the 5th lap. As Gelbovan goes fastest overall with a 144.6. Can't say I'm surprised there, though. Definitely cannot say I'm surprised, but that pace is not quick enough. So I'm pretty sure if we look at the race director now, real fast Bogan on his previous lap, he's doing low 45s. So he's going to... It's looking like right now Bogan can hold on to that pace. He will not lose the win. But Hittinen goes fastest overall with a 144.4. Helps when you have DRS, and it also helps when you are on the quicker tire. Hope the audio is all good today. I know again, like I said before, we've had the issues in the past where the audio has been a little funky, and I'm keeping an eye on the audio mixer at the moment. It's definitely way better than it was, but I know it's not perfect, so hopefully there's no sound issues for the game itself. Fortunately, we will not have a ladder for the rest of the season, but yeah, he will be missed. So it's not like there's another commentator that's talking that no one can hear. So, but yeah, Gelbovan's 2/10 faster than his previous best lap. He's starting to show some better pace, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to catch up to Bogan, who's 8.3 seconds ahead still and only has 4 laps to go. And it doesn't look like he is slowing down at all. Bogan crosses the line and does a 144.8. That kind of pace will keep you in the lead, that's for sure. My goodness, that is a flyer. Gelbovan will cross the line and set a 144.3. That is a new purple lap. I think we should keep an eye on Hittinen then, who is probably, no, he is actually not up on his time. I thought he would be going possibly purple as well, but it doesn't look like the Finnish driver was able to hold on to space now. He did a 144.8, a little slower than before, but also interesting enough, similar lap time to his teammate, who was on 9-lap-old mediums. So Bogan showing some excellent pace on the medium compound tire, and that is why he's currently in the lead and our championship leader at the moment. So excellent job so far by the Polish driver. Yes. One thing I think right now, with 3.5 laps to go, I think it's very clear so far, barring the circumstances, this driver right here, Bailey Thompson, is certainly going to have to be the driver of the day. I started P9. I was struggling to get a lap in qualifying. And now is currently running in P3 in a podium spot with over 3 seconds between him and his teammate. But he's got 3.5 laps still left to go. Anything can happen, but it's looking like by coming in, pitting early for the softs, he was able to get the track position on his teammate. His overall pace has not been good since he put on the softs because, I mean, asking the softs to do, well, let's see, he pitted like what, lap 8, lap 7 or 8? Actually, it was more like lap 9. Pitting on lap 9 and going and doing 13 laps on softs is no easy task, but he's pulling it off right now, and he's just got 3 more laps to go as Gelbovan goes purple once again, but only gained 3/10 on Bogan, who is only 7.8 ahead. So going purple's good, but it's not good enough to catch up to the leader. So Gelbman sitting in a comfortable P2 right now, which is just not good enough to take the win away from Bogan. But someone who's trying to look to take away position is Kalachu, who's finally started to catch up to CNLP as we come into the last few laps of the race. Now, Kalachu does have about 6 seconds of time penalties, I believe. Yes, 6. So, and he has fallen down the order after starting on pole. I'm sure he does not want to finish last out of the finishers. So we'll see what kind of fight he puts up as he closes in and is just out of DRS range from the McLaren ahead. But at the rate he is going, he will certainly catch up to CNLP before the end of the lap, and will probably try to make a move this time next lap. So keep an eye on this battle down the order. The other battle we're going to keep an eye on is Zorin versus Bailey Thompson, the 2 Renault drivers, battling it out for the final podium spot. Both of them sitting on 3 seconds of time penalties and only 1.8 seconds between them, with the big difference being the tires that they are on. Bailey Thompson on the medium tire, which, yes, is worn and is definitely starting to slow down, but not as much as the softs that Bailey Thompson has. So Bailey's going to have to hang on for dear life from his teammate for the last 2 laps if he wants to hold on to the podium. And he's going to have to keep Zorin out of DRS range as long as he can, too. Excuse me. So because if Zorin can get DRS range, he's going to have enough grip that he could probably stay close to him behind in Eau Rouge and Radeon, and that could steal him the podium position as we got 2 laps to go in this Belgian Grand Prix, which has been a very interesting race so far, to say the least. As a lot of drivers doing various strategies and then everything going completely haywire with the virtual safety car that we had today. But looking back down the order, Kalachu is only half a second behind CNLP and will certainly go for a move into the Lacombe section of the track. But the other battle we're looking at, Zorin versus Bailey. Zorin, 1.1, almost 1.2 seconds behind Bailey. Coming out of Radeon, he is not close enough for DRS, so Bailey has done the job this lap. Zorin's only going to get really 1, maybe 2 more opportunities next lap to make the overtake happen. But as of right now, Bailey Thompson holding on from his teammate. Zorin gains almost half a section through the Lacombe section. Bailey Thompson's tires are dead. Back down the order, Kalachu has made the move on CNLP well and truly before the braking zone. The Racing Point driver is up to P6 for now before penalties are applied, and he's got to break DRS really quickly if he wants to even get close to having a chance at breaking any penalties and hoping that CNLP gets a penalty and he's able to hold on to P6. But locking up into the Brussels section will not help you at all. What also will not help anyone will not help someone is Bailey Thompson's tires. They will not help him defend from Zorin, who is under 2/10 behind him. He's all over the rear of his teammate. It's a Renault versus Renault battle. Zorin literally pushing Bailey through the end of Sector 2. Now they're coming on the exit of turn 16. Zorin all over the back of Bailey Thompson. Zorin's gonna have a very nice chance into the bus stop chicane as they go through Blanchimont. Now Zorin probably backing off a little bit because it doesn't want to make the move any sooner. Now will Zorin dip to the left-hand part of the track, or will Bailey go defensive? No. Zorin's going to wait until the end of the Kimmel Straight, it looks like, to make the overtake, as Bailey Thompson is just struggling on the soft compound tire. Another thing right now, Gelbman is now 9 seconds behind Bogan, so he must have had a moment. But we'll have to see now. We're on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Bailey Thompson goes very deep into La Source and out of La Source, and now Zorin is only going to be 2.5 tenths behind, not even 2 tenths behind, going into Eau Rouge and Radeon. Bailey Thompson goes all over the track. Oh, and he goes off into the wall and retires from the session on the exit of Radeon. His tires finally said no more, and the Renault driver, who was on track for his first podium of the season, goes from glory to heartbreak all in the span of 3 corners. It is tears and utter heartbreak for Bailey Thompson today as he is into the wall and out of the Grand Prix. And thankfully, this race is a virtual one because that was a huge crash. And I'm sure he is okay as he is sitting at home in his sim rig, but he is certainly not going to be happy after driving an absolutely fantastic race and pulling a great strategy and losing it all in one of the fastest parts of the track. But from heartbreak to glory. We go back up to Bogan, who's in the final sector of the track, through Blanchimont now, and up to the bus stop chicane. No one has had an answer for the Polish driver all day. He pulled the perfect strategy by pitting under the VSC, put on the medium tires, and pumped in the purple laps. Your race winner for the Belgian Grand Prix is XPG Bogan, who makes it 3 in a row. What a drive for the Williams driver. As P2 and crosses the line, Gelbevand will take a well and deserved podium position and sets the fastest lap with a 1:43.8 on the final lap. And to round out the podium positions, Zorin will come home across the line in P3, just barely ahead of Hittinen, who came out of absolutely nowhere on this closing stage of the lap. And because of penalties, Hittinen will stay in P4, who almost recovered once again to the podium. Glacci will finish on track in P5, and CNLP will finish on track P6, but the two of them will swap positions due to penalties. But our driver of the day, who the game says is Zorin, but I want to disagree with because of what I was talking about earlier. But the driver of the day who finished definitely has to be Bogan. He drove a phenomenal race, did an absolutely, well, it was a very smart but also lucky strategy call by pitting under the VSC. Other drivers around him did not and had the opportunity to. Now, Gelbevand did do the reverse strategy, so he didn't really have that opportunity. But the likes of Kalachu, who was on the same strategy, did not pit. And as a result, we are looking at Bogan on the top step and Kalachu down the order due to many reasons. Bailey Thompson was my driver of the day up until the last lap there, but that crash was just heartbreaking. As Bogan wins the Belgian Grand Prix, Gelbevand will finish P2, and Zorin will take another podium and finish P3. So that rounds out our podium positions. We go over to the incidents tabs now, just so we can get a little idea on what the race director looks like. It's not really looking too oops, sorry, a second, my dog decided to take something. It's not looking too filled, which is always nice to see, but the penalty board was definitely lit up, as there are plenty of drivers got several seconds of penalties. But yes, it was a very fun race, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching Hype Energy PC AOR F2, and we look forward to you joining us after Christmas in January for the next race. Yes, we are currently going on it's technically 3 weeks, to be honest. A 3-week break for Christmas and the holiday season, and we look to everyone coming back from a nice and happy holiday, and we will look forward to seeing you guys when we come back in January for more racing. Thank you ever so much for watching. This is Fizzymon signing off. Thank you for watching Apex Online Racing, Hype Energy, PC F2 Formula 1 Racing. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful night.